I am PFC Jack Berkey. I am an imagery analyst with Delta Company 173rd, and I am studying GIS and cartography at UW-Madison. I'm going to college for cartography and GIS. So it is a combination of data, statistics, as well as design and cartography, and I really like that pairing.
I'm using the UW Tuition Assistance Grant, which basically covers 100% of tuition, which is huge. You don't see something like that too often. And on top of that, which I had no idea before joining the Guard, you're also able to use the GI Bill on top of that, which has also helped me pay for rent. So I'm basically going to college for free. And that's something I could have never imagined, and it's helped me as well as my family in more ways than one. I was able to get the kicker on top of the 1606 Montgomery GI Bill, so I'm basically able to get around $800 a month for being a full-time student. And the purpose of the GI Bill is basically used for a master's degree, right? But as of now, it's money in your pocket, basically. So for anybody getting that GI Bill, you can use it however you want. You can save it for a master's degree, or you can use it for rent like me, which I know a lot of other people in my unit do. So it's really helped me out in that respect. And on top of the tuition assistance, it makes not only living at college, but just attending college in general, it's significantly easier for me. So after my freshman year, where I was basically paying for college myself, I had to take out private loans. I was doing federal loans. My parents were helping me out. And I also had two younger sisters who were actually going to college this year. And the idea of having especially my parents having to support all three of us was just daunting. And on top of that, they're still paying off their student loans. I grew up kind of, understanding how much student loans can affect your life for years to come. So I got this email from the National Guard, and it was, the normal one that they send out, all the tuition assistance and all the benefits that you can get. And it's a great opportunity. And I never thought about it before, but at that moment, I was kind of thinking about all these things I said previously, and I turned to my mom, who I was in the car with her. I'm like, "Hey, do you think this is a good idea?" And we talked about the benefits, what the time commitment would be, but in the end, she's like, "This is your decision, right? This is something that you got to decide for yourself." And I never made that kind of commitment before. It was really scary, to be honest, but in the end, I went into my recruiter. He was straight up honest with me, answered all my questions. And at that point, I decided to do it.
Being a full-time student and a part-time National Guardsman is challenging, of course, but you can find ways to overcome those challenges. And I think the biggest key to that is just communication, right?
For example, my first drill was a 5-day drill doing a qual range, and I came back and I was so behind on work, and I was behind and trying to catch up, but there's always something else to do, and it was getting hard. So at some point, I'm like, okay, I just got to talk to my professor. And I was a little nervous about it because I'd never really done this before. Like, what are they going to say? Are they going to understand? Maybe they don't understand what being in the National Guard means. How are they going to say? And they're completely fine with it. I mean, they're people too, right? And they've dealt with National Guard people before. Most of your professors, if you're listening to this and you haven't gone through this, I mean, they understand, right? So that's something that I'm kind of thankful for. Having experience being in the Guard is being able to open up like that to my professors, and that not only leads you to being able to be more flexible with your work, but it builds a rapport with your professors, and you're able to actually have a talk with them, and you start to communicate with them more. And I started to find that I really enjoyed talking with my professors. You know, I had this history professor that I really liked, taught a class I was really interested in, and we were able to talk about it, talk about the topic, and really built up my communication skills, especially with my teachers. I am PFC Jack Berkey, and with the Wisconsin National Guard, I am a full-time student and a part-time soldier.